Have you ever had that feeling? That silent, heavy feeling when you first wake up in the morning? Before the day has even begun, before your feet have even hit the floor, a wave of disappointment settles in. A quiet acknowledgement that something is different now. That the man who used to wake up with energy, with readiness, with a sense of potent vitality, has been replaced by a quieter, more tired version of himself. You might blame your age. You might blame your stress, your diet, or a dozen other things. But what if I told you the primary culprit might be the very thing you've been told is the source of life? What if the way you've been drinking water for the last 10, 20, or even 30 years has been based on a complete misunderstanding? A lie we've been told by well-meaning experts for half a century. My name is Dr. Harrison. For the past 25 years, I've had the profound privilege of sitting in a quiet room with thousands of men. Good men, strong men, men in their 60s, 70s, and 80s, who all came to me with a variation of the same story. Doc, I feel like I'm fading. They believed their best days were a distant memory, a story they told themselves about a younger man. But time and time again, I have witnessed those same men reclaim their power, their confidence, and their performance in the bedroom, not through some miracle drug or invasive procedure, but by unlearning the myths and rediscovering a fundamental truth about their own bodies. Today, I'm not just going to talk to you about drinking water. I'm going to give you a new framework for understanding your own vitality. This isn't just about erections. This is about reclaiming the very essence of what makes you feel like you. So, get comfortable. Turn off the distractions. What I'm about to share with you could very well be the most important health conversation you have all year. First, we must identify the true enemy. It's not the number 65, 70, or 75. The enemy has a name, and I call it chronic cellular dehydration. It's a state where, even if you're drinking water occasionally, your body on a microscopic level is living in a constant state of drought. Think of your body like a house you've lived in for over 6 decades. Chronic dehydration is like a slow, invisible leak in the foundation. You don't see it day to day, but over time, the entire structure becomes weak, unstable, and starts to show cracks in the most important places. And this enemy becomes particularly aggressive after the age of 60 for 2 specific reasons that most doctors never explain. First, your natural thirst mechanism begins to dull. The low fuel light on your body's dashboard gets rusty. You can be significantly dehydrated and not even feel thirsty. You're flying blind, running on fumes, and you don't even know it. Second, as we age, our total body water percentage naturally decreases. When you were 30, your body was about 60% water. By the time you're 70, that can drop to 50%. You are starting each day with a smaller reservoir. This means there is far less room for error. You can't get away with the bad habits you had in your youth. This cellular dehydration is a thief. It robs you ounce by ounce, day by day. It steals your energy, fogs your mind, makes your joints ache, and yes, it is one of the primary culprits behind fading erections. But here is the most important thing I will say today. This is not a life sentence. It is a communication problem. Your body is talking to you, and today you are going to learn its language. The solution isn't in a pharmacy. It's not in a surgeon's office. It's in rediscovering a wisdom your body already possesses. I am going to give you the exact blueprint, the roadmap out of that dehydrated state and back to a place of strength. We are going to build this roadmap on 4 powerful pillars. Think of these as the 4 cornerstones of a new foundation for your health. These are the pillars that have helped my patients, men just like you, turn everything around. And before we lay that first stone, if this message is already resonating with you, take a moment to hit that subscribe button and the little bell icon. This channel is a commitment from me to you to provide real, science-backed strategies for men who are ready to live their next chapter with power and purpose. Let's build this community together. All right, let's get to work. Pillar number 1, the river of life. Why your blood is crying out for help. Let's talk about Jim. 68 years old, a retired high school football coach. He was a man used to being in command. When he sat in my office, he couldn't even look me in the eye. "Doc," he said, his voice low. "My wife, she's patient. She says it doesn't matter. But I know it does. It's not just the physical act. It's the connection. It feels like a part of me, a part of us has just died. I feel like less of a man. Before we ran a single test, I asked him to describe his daily fluid intake. It was the classic story. A big mug of coffee to start the day, maybe an iced tea with lunch, and water only when he was working in the yard and felt parched. Here is the fundamental, non-negotiable biological fact. An erection is a hydraulic event. It is about blood flow. That's it. But what we forget is that our blood itself is over 90% water. It's a river of life that transports oxygen, nutrients, and hormones to every single cell in your body. When you enter a state of even mild dehydration, the water volume in your blood decreases. This changes its consistency. Scientists call it increasing viscosity. Imagine the difference between trying to push water through a thin straw versus trying to push honey. That's the challenge your heart and your blood vessels face when you're dehydrated. Your blood becomes thick, sticky, and slow-moving. Now, think about the incredibly fine, delicate network of blood vessels in the penis. They are designed to expand and engorge with fast-moving, fluid blood. But if the blood arriving is thick like sludge, the pressure can't build. The system fails. You might feel the desire, your brain might send the signal, but the physical delivery mechanism is clogged. I explained this to Jim. I gave him a mission. I said, Jim, for the next 3 weeks, we're not changing anything else. But you are going to become a water connoisseur. You will sip, not gulp. You will drink room temperature water, not ice-cold shocks to the system. You will start your day with a full glass before your coffee, and you will have a glass between every meal. He was skeptical. That's it, Doc? Just water. That's it for now, Coach, I told him. Let's fix the river before we worry about anything else. A month later, he came back for his follow-up. He sat down, looked me straight in the eye, and a slow smile spread across his face. Doc, he said, last night I looked my wife in the eye, and we both knew. The connection was back. I felt present again. He didn't just fix a physical problem. He restored a part of his marriage, a part of his identity. That is the power of fixing your blood flow. Pillar number 2, the hormone heist. How dehydration steals your manhood. Now, let's talk about the silent thief that operates even more deeply. Let's talk about Walter, 72 years old, a recent widower, fiercely independent. He came to me because his kids were worried. He wasn't depressed, he said. He just felt empty. The world seems like it's in black and white. Document. I have no drive, no motivation to even go out for coffee with my friends. No interest in anything, especially not intimacy. I feel like I'm just waiting. His lab work showed testosterone levels on the low end of the spectrum. But more importantly, his cortisol, the primary stress hormone, was elevated. This is a classic signature of chronic dehydration. Here is the heist. When your body senses a water shortage, it declares a state of emergency. Your adrenal glands start pumping out cortisol. Cortisol's job is to manage the crisis, preserving function in the most vital organs. But to do this, it needs to steal resources from other systems it deems non-essential for immediate survival. And what's at the top of that non-essential list? Your reproductive system. Think of testosterone and cortisol on a seesaw. They are in direct opposition. When cortisol is high, your brain gets a signal to shut down the production line for testosterone. It's a biological trade-off. Your body is saying, I can't afford to build muscle, fuel libido, and create energy right now. I'm in a crisis and I need to conserve everything I've got. For millions of men over 60, this isn't a temporary state. It's their permanent reality. They are living with the hormonal profile of a person in constant low-grade stress, all because their cellular hydration is critically low. They feel flat, foggy, irritable, and disconnected, not just from their partners, but from themselves. With Walter, we started a disciplined hydration protocol. A glass of water first thing upon waking, to signal to his body that the drought was over. Another glass mid-morning, another with lunch, another mid-afternoon. We were systematically reassuring his body that it was safe, that the crisis had passed. The transformation was slower, but deeper. After 6 weeks, he came in wearing a collared shirt. "Doc," he said, "I joined my old bowling league again. I'm laughing more. The world, it feels like it's in color again. That spark, that vitality, that is what healthy testosterone levels feel like." He didn't need hormone shots. He needed to stop the hormonal heist that was happening inside his own body every single day. Now, what I've shared so far is life-changing. But it's all for nothing if you fall victim to the next pillar, the great mistake. This next point is the reason why some men can drink a gallon of water a day and still be dehydrated and feel terrible. And please, stick with me, because after I reveal this critical mistake, I am going to share the final pillar, the 7-second spark. It's a simple morning ritual that you can do tomorrow, which combines with proper hydration to directly amplify the one molecule your body needs to open up your blood vessels on command. It's the key that unlocks the whole system. You need to hear this. Pillar number 3, the great mistake. Why chugging water is sabotaging you. I'll never forget Mike, 67, a retired long-haul trucker, a man who lived on coffee and diner food for 40 years. He was tough, skeptical, and had heard it all. When I told him how he drank water mattered, he folded his arms and said, "Doc, water is water. You drink it, you pee it out. End of story." He was voicing the myth that millions of us believe, that hydration is just a numbers game. Drink 8 glasses a day. Chug a bottle after you work out. This approach is fundamentally flawed, especially for a man over 60. This is the great mistake. Treating your body like a bucket you can just fill up. When you wait until you're thirsty and then chug a large amount of water, especially ice-cold water, you are shocking your system. Imagine pouring a gallon of freezing water onto a hot engine block. That's the kind of stress you're putting on your internal organs. Your body can only absorb a few ounces of water at a time. When you flood it with 16 or 20 ounces at once, your stomach becomes overwhelmed. Your kidneys get an emergency signal. Floodgates are open. Evacuate immediately. They go into overdrive to flush out the excess fluid. And in that process, you don't just lose the water you just drank. You lose critical electrolytes, sodium, potassium, magnesium. These are the minerals that control your nerve signals and muscle contractions, which are absolutely essential for sexual function. You end up in a vicious cycle. You chug water, you flush out minerals, which makes you feel more fatigued and foggy, and your cells remain just as thirsty as they were before. The solution is to think like a gardener, not a firefighter. You don't water a delicate plant with a fire hose. You give it a slow, steady drip, allowing the soil to absorb it fully. Your body wants the same. The protocol I gave Mike was simple. 1. No more chugging. Ever. Only sipping. 2. Room temperature or warm. Never ice cold. Your body doesn't have to expend energy heating it up, so it can absorb it more easily. 3. Drink while seated. When you sit and relax, you signal to your body that it's time to rest and digest, which includes absorbing water properly. 4. Listen for whispers, not screams. Drink proactively throughout the day, so your body never has to scream at you with the sensation of thirst. Mike called it my fancy water drinking rules, but he followed them. 2 weeks later, he called me. "Doc," he said, "you were right. I was wrong. My knees don't ache as much in the morning. My head feels clearer. And the wife, she's not complaining." For a man like Mike, that was the equivalent of a Shakespearean love poem. He didn't just hydrate his body. He reduced inflammation, improved his mental clarity, and restored function, all by stopping the great mistake. Pillar number 4, the 7-second spark, the morning ritual to reignite your system. This brings us to the final piece, the amplifier. This is for the man who is doing everything right but feels like he's stuck in second gear. That was Greg. At 71, he had followed all my advice. He was sipping his water, his diet was clean, he was walking every day. He came to me and said, "Doc, I'm at 80%. I'm grateful for it, but I know there's more. The engine is running clean, but it's not roaring." That's when I taught him the 7-second spark. It is the simplest, most powerful biohack I know. Here it is. Tomorrow morning, after you have your first glass of room temperature water, while you are still seated and calm, I want you to do this. Close your mouth. Breathe in slowly and deeply through your nose for about 4 seconds. Feel your belly expand with air. Then, without holding your breath, exhale slowly and gently out through your nose for about 4 seconds. Do this 3 or 4 times. The whole process takes less than a minute. Greg's reaction was predictable. That's it? A breathing exercise. Here's the magic. When you breathe in this specific way, slowly, through your nose, your nasal sinuses produce and release a powerful molecule called nitric oxide. Nitric oxide is the body's master signal for blood flow. It tells the smooth muscles in your artery walls to relax and open up. It is the key that unlocks the floodgates, allowing oxygen-rich blood to surge into every tissue, including the erectile tissues of the penis. As we age, our natural production of this crucial molecule plummets. This is a primary driver of age-related erectile dysfunction. By performing this simple breathing ritual right after hydrating, you are executing a perfect 1-2 punch. First, you give your blood the fluid it needs to flow easily, pillar 1. Then, with the 7-second spark, you open up the highways for that blood to travel down. You are creating the perfect internal environment for performance. Greg started doing it the next day. A week later, he sent me a 1-sentence email. It said, "The roar is back." So there you have it. The 4 pillars. The roadmap back to your vitality. You now understand more about true functional hydration than 99% of the population. But I want to be very clear. Listening to this, understanding it, that's the easy part. The knowledge I've shared today is completely worthless if it stays as an idea in your head. It only becomes powerful when it becomes an action in your life. So now comes the moment of truth. The invitation. I'm not asking you to be perfect overnight. I'm asking you to take one single step. Here is my challenge to you. Tomorrow morning, before the coffee, before the chaos, I want you to honor your body. Sit down and slowly sip 1 full glass of room temperature water. While you do it, think about what you're doing. You are hydrating your blood, you are calming your stress hormones, you are giving your 60, 70, or 80-year-old body the respect it deserves. That's it. That's the first step. If you are willing to accept this challenge, go to the comments section right now. I want you to write, "I'm starting tomorrow." When you write it down, you make a contract with yourself. You declare your intention. Let's fill that comment section with men who are ready to take back control. And if you know another man, a brother, a friend, your father, who is suffering in silence, who you think needs to hear this message, please share this video with them. You could change their life. Don't expect a miracle on day 1. Think of this as planting a seed. You have to water it with consistency. But soon you will feel the sprouts of change. Maybe it's a clearer mind in the afternoon. Maybe it's waking up feeling more rested. And then one morning it will happen. You'll feel that warmth, that stirring, that familiar sign of life and readiness that you thought was gone forever. That is your body saying, "Thank you. Welcome home." Remember, your story is not over. Your body keeps the score, yes, but it also desperately wants to forgive. It is waiting for you to come home to it. Your greatest chapter is not written in the past. It's waiting to be lived, starting with your very next glass of water. Stay hydrated and stay strong. I'll see you in the next video.